I'd like to call the May 22nd Lowell Conservation Commission meeting to order. Our first order of business is continued business, new business. We have an enforcement order, 55 Shawmut Avenue. Is anyone here to speak on the matter? Please say your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name's Luigi Ferreira. Last name.
Paulo Ferreira.
Paolo?
I'm his son. I'm here to translate and, talk on his behalf. But yeah, let's get started. Pode falar.
A gente está aqui que foi chamado para ver.
So what we have here is an enforcement order due to regrading and construction within the 100-year floodplain and the 100-foot buffer zone of a protected resource. So could you tell us what the extent of what you guys have done?
Okay, I'm just going to translate. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Então, ele só falou a mesma coisa que a gente já sabe e perguntou se a gente tem uma coisa para falar.
A gente tem que falar que a gente não vai mexer na área de
Não, mas
conservação.
ele está perguntando se a gente igual o que
A gente fez aterro. A gente colocou essa areia junto da fundação para colocar pedra.
Okay. All right. So basically, we got a ticket saying that apparently we went and. Como fala de novo?
A gente não sabia, a gente colocou essa terra para colocar pedra aí e colocar umas cadeiras.
Yeah. So apparently we were trying to make a construction or a building apparently because there were bricks on the floor and it looked like we were doing a construction. And it was past the, how do you say it? Yeah, the foundation of where we are supposed to be. In truth, we were just trying to make a patio right near our house, and it was just all a miscommunication, basically.
I understand.
Você diz a ele que a gente não sabia que a área de alargamento ficou sabendo esta semana, recebeu visto, e que a gente não pretende construir
Vou
mais
falar
nada.
do certo, tá bem, tá bom?
Não mexe nada.
Tá bom. Yeah, everything's good.
So, so as the commission, we enforce the Wetlands Protection Act. So any type of work like this that happens within 100 feet of a wetland resource, you have to come before us and ask if it's okay to do, if it's going to impact the wetland resource. So the fact that you didn't come before us is why you're getting this notification. There were a couple things I saw, one being the shed that you guys installed. So the shed appears to be not even on your property. It's on an abutting property, which I'm not 100% maybe owned by UMass Lowell.
When I look on the GIS, it says Ackerley Communications. It's
Okay.
a weird lot. It like goes out and hooks around and ends up back at Middlesex Street where there's
Okay.
like some car businesses.
Okay, all right. So that shed is not even on your property. So that's probably going to have to be removed.
I'll translate.
As far as the other work that has been done, I would be interested to know how far it is from the actual water resource. Do you have any idea?
May I translate the whole thing to him real quick?
Yes, yeah, go for it.
Ele falou do chão que não é nosso, você já sabia. E também perguntou se eu vou falar, posso falar igual?
Yeah.
A gente não sabia.
So like that's the shed. Yeah.
Que a gente foi lá e
And that's not their property, but their property like is probably right here.
Mas eu falo do proprietário, que a gente perguntou depois. Eu vou falar que a gente perguntou depois.
And it looks
E depois ele falou quanto que vai ser o patio. Vai para quanto?
20 pés.
20 pés da nossa casa.
De casa para fora.
Ok. Ok.
E disse que o shed a gente não sabia. Ainda falou com o proprietário.
Okay, so firstly, about the shed, we didn't know about that. That wasn't our property until we had already built it. We talked to the the person who owns the property, and he let us know after we had already built it. We didn't like ask. However, he already told us, but that's after, and there was no problem with it. And he also said about the patio. He said about 20 feet from our house, so not close to the lake at all.
Yeah.
to speak on it?
So there's a resource area. I think it's in the back, right? And we're just wondering how far. There's usually markers in the back of your property, a stone or something that lets you know. But if you don't know to look for them, you're not going to see them. And we're just because you can't build a certain distance from a wetland
Yeah.
or a resource area, or I think it's a wetland, right?
Yeah, it's definitely what-
So we just want to make sure that we're not too close to that wetland.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and that's
like
why
you
we
said-
ask how
Yeah, of
close
course,
it
of
is.
course. But like you said, it's gonna just be 20 feet from our house. From our house, 20 feet over. So
So the shed is 20 feet
No.
from your house?
the second question that you asked about the patio, about how far it would be, the shed, like we said, we didn't know until we had already built it that it wasn't our property.
I'm just worried about this shed being really close to the resource area. Even though it's not on your property and you got approval from the property owner, verbal approval, I'm worried about how close it is, because in this picture that was provided to us, it looks like we can see the resource area, and I'm not really sure how far it is. And we have a strict 25-foot no build zone in the city that we adhere by. So can you tell us more about the shed? How was it built?
Okay, I'll explain. Can I translate? Okay, thank you. Então, ele falou que ele não mesmo está mais para que não está no nosso property, ele só está falando porque é muito perto da água, que está muito perto do wetlands, entendeu? E também ele perguntou se ele pode saber como a gente criou o shed.
Ele comprou o material e fez.
E depois, o que que
Mas a
foi?
gente não sabia que não podia botar lá lá perto no fundo da água. E a gente só queria manter essa área limpa.
All right. So basically, what he said was that the shed was built by us. We created. We bought all the equipment, everything, and we built it handmade. But like we said, we didn't really know we couldn't put it there. We just tried to keep the area cleaned. and,
Understandable.
make everything okay.
A gente ficou sabendo do negócio da água quando recebeu a multa, né? Quando recebeu o ticket, a gente não sabia.
And we didn't know anything about the water or any wetland violation that we made until we got the
We understand that. We're just trying to figure out how the shed was built.
Oh yeah. We built it.
Is there a slab of concrete underneath?
I think concrete embassy. No.
No, it looks like, from my perspective,
Oh.
it looks like it's just gravel.
Oh no, it's not gravel. We made. Então ele tá falando que tem gravel embaixo. Aqui
Não,
na pedra.
é pedra.
Yeah. So it's basically I don't really know the word for it, but like little rocks. I think.
Crushed stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's.
So you didn't pour a concrete pad or
No.
anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Does anyone else from the board
Yeah, I got a
have any
question.
comments?
What language are you guys speaking, out of curiosity?
I'm sorry.
What language do you guys speak? What's your native language?
Portuguese from
Oh,
Brazil.
Portuguese. Oh, okay, great. Okay, very good. Just curious because it sounded a little like Spanish, so I could help out a little.
My Spanish is horrible.
I did have a question. Is that shed easy to move onto your land?
Ele tá perguntando se é fácil para mover. Não, precisa tirar tudo.
Não.
Precisa tirar tudo.
Não, porque tem que desmontar tudo. Trazer nessa trabalhão.
Yeah.
Por favor.
So he's asking kindly because we were gonna have to remove everything from inside of it, but the even harder part would be that we would have to, dismantle it one piece at a time, and then we would have to make it again a bit closer. Until now, we've had it built for quanto tempo agora que a gente tinha? O shed? We've had it for a couple of years now, so we never got a complaint until now. We haven't, nothing really happened. There's been nothing, you know, nothing.
E a gente não vai mexer em nada, só queria guardar as ferramentas.
Yeah, so like you said, we just wanted to like store everything away, so that's why we built a shed. We
Right.
didn't want to like, you know.
We understand the purpose of a shed. We appreciate that.
Sorry, but
But the question was whether we can move it. Second question would be, did you dig down into the dirt to put any form of slab or that crushed stone, or is it just superficially on top of the land?
Ele tá perguntando se a gente botou uma coisa, se a gente botou uma coisa embaixo. No.
You didn't dig down, it's superficially on
We just
top?
leveled the
Just
the
leveled
dirt
it with
and
the crushed
soil.
stone?
No,
Nada. Only level
the soil.
topsoil.
Do you happen to know how far it is from the body of water?
A gente sabe quanto é igual perto da água ou não?
Da água tem 8 metros.
8 feet.
How much?
8 feet
It's 8 feet.
from the water.
Really close.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
So for,
Aerial view.
for the patio,
Yeah.
did you bring in any dirt off-site to fill or anything?
Ele tá perguntando se a gente botou.
Or is that just cleared from, like, do you just clear the grass off of it or something?
Yeah. Ele tá perguntando se a gente botou soil aqui. Né? A gente botou não. We did.
Okay.
But that's just to make it level and like to, you know.
How,
okay.
how much do you know? Like, how many yards or anything?
Just like 3 yards, around 3 yards.
Porque ele já existia. Só que era-
So there was already soil on it. However, it was a bit curved down. It was downsided.
Yeah, so you flattened it.
Yeah, we just flattened it off.
Now, is this shed anchored down at all?
Oh, shit, tá igual. Tá flat, né? No, it's level, it's flat, it's sturdy.
It's just placed on the gravel?
Tá bem em cima da coisa, né? Tá em cima. Yeah, correct.
That's one thing, in my opinion, that
It's probably to its benefit, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that leads me to wanting to allow them to keep it because in case of a flood, that's not stationary.
Right.
If anything, that's coming up with the water. It's not,
And it's
yeah.
not obstructing any of the underground flow either. But,
Um,
yeah.
anyone else?
We do have history of letting things stay. I'm gonna.
Kevin?
Commissioner Varnum?
Louisa? Yes. We have sheds, unfortunately, all over the city that are too close to the resource. And, that would be a whole project in itself for the Conservation Commission to go around and have everybody move their sheds on appropriate space. I think what we're seeing here is some people that are actually taking a risk. If they do have permission from the landowner, they still are in a spot that was very likely underwater, 10 or 15 years ago, and they're taking a risk of their own property to store things in there that might have some value. I feel badly for, I think we probably got notice of this because of the fact that there was some other construction going on the property. And like I say, I kind of don't like to go after somebody's one shed when we probably could find half a dozen or a dozen others along that stretch of water that are also in violation. I know it's not the right way to look at it, but the shed has been there for 2 years now. And I think probably more to the point would be to make sure that no fill is brought in for the patio. the floodplain and not filling in the floodplain with something permanent like fill or even bricks would be more important to pay attention to.
I agree. Which brings up my next question. So, this regrading that you did right behind the house, what was the extent of the work that you guys did?
May I show you a picture? Are you talking
Yeah,
about?
oh, yeah, we have that picture right here. So I think you said before it's 3 yards of dirt,
Oh,
of fill were
okay,
brought in?
yes, yeah. And then, what was that question again? Was that the same question?
Yeah, that was the
Oh.
same question. So, so you brought in about 3 yards of fill. So that's a problem.
Because you guys are in a flood zone, so you can't fill in the flood zone because if there is a flood, that fill will take up space that the water should have been in. So it can increase the risk of a worse flood event
Yeah.
for the house and everything.
She's saying if it's like the dirt, we could take the dirt up. We could like take it out if that's really
Yeah.
the cause.
I mean, that is.
And-
that is what we'd be looking at. If you took out the fill that you had already put in, that would actually be exactly what I think we'd be looking for.
And the way I'm looking at it right now, I don't see that being too much of a problem. If you took the exact amount of fill that you brought in and removed it, I think it would still look pretty nice in your backyard.
Yeah.
Was there grass there before?
Um,
Did you take out?
no, yeah, about, no.
Okay.
I
Chair?
agree. Yes,
Could I-
Commissioner Varnum.
Yes. Do we know exactly where the floodplain line is on this lot?
No.
Is the entire construction area in the
Peter, could you help
floodplain,
us?
or is some of it out?
What was the question?
It's about like the last third of the lot, maybe a little bit less. Probably there's like a garage on the side. It is like 10 feet away.
So is the entire patio area going to be in the floodplain then? What they're proposing?
I'm not sure. We didn't get the dimension of the patio. The building inspector just saw this and flagged it for me because he was worried about the floodwaters like running off towards the neighbors if it was regraded.
I'm looking at the website Mass Mapper that shows the floodplain, and the floodplain comes up to what I'm assuming it comes up within a foot or two of, I think it's a garage. So I think the entire patio would be in the floodplain based on this mapping.
Would it be okay if we asked a question? Oh, so would it be okay if we made the patio behind the house until now? Since we're already here,
That would bring it out of the floodplain, correct?
it will be 20 feet from the house. Was the flow Vinci there? Yeah,
If
20
it
feet
was
from
right behind the house.
the house. It wouldn't go like close, like I don't believe it will be within 100 feet. I don't believe so.
Yeah. So the floodplain is different from the wetland in the back. It's the flood zones is a totally different look at it. It's not. So we have to see where the flood zone comes up, what it looks like just about to the back of your garage. And so you can't fill in that area at all without first bringing a, what they call a request of, what is it?
Request for determination.
Request for a determination of applicability or a notice of intent so that we can see what you're going to do with the work and how you're going to make sure that you don't add to the flood zone.
Okay, because like he just said that if we can't put a patio, we'll just put grass there. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I think that might be the best. I don't see any problem with putting planting there.
I don't know.
Louisa, what do you think? You have experience with this as well.
Well, if the patio were going to be the same level as the floodplain, for instance, if it were brick and the bricks were recessed so that you weren't adding any elevation, it's possible maybe the patio could go there. And I do like the idea of bricks rather than poured cement because usually the water can filter down between the bricks.
Could you build a patio after the dirt was removed and it wasn't level? Would you be able to do that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, please?
Would you be able to build a patio once the dirt was removed? And because it wouldn't be level, and that would be, I know that makes it much harder.
Yeah,
to do
I
that sort of
believe
thing.
so, but let me ask. Quando você tira a areia, a gente ainda pode fazer patio. Se a gente lavou o resto, depois que você tira. Yeah, it would be like, down, but I believe so. We'll just level everything, but it will be like, in a, how do I say it?
So the primary concern right now is the fill that was put in, and it was about 3 feet.
3 yards.
3 yards.
3 yards.
So that's the number one thing that we need done is have that fill removed.
Okay.
And once that fill is removed, if you guys plan on putting in this patio, if it's the wish of the board, then I think that might suffice. What does everyone else think?
Yeah, I think they'd still have to bring a request.
They'd have to come back.
They'd have to come back
for
with a
sure.
plan for the patio.
Yeah.
And then once you have that plan, you come back, and once the dirt's removed, you come back, see us again. You reach out to the conservation office with the city. They'll help you get what you need in order to make the patio. You come back to us, we approve the patio plan, then you can build the patio.
Okay.
But the first thing first is to get rid of the fill that you put in. And then we can rescind the enforcement order at that time, once that fill is removed.
Okay. Well, can I translate real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Então, ele falou que primeiro a gente precisa tirar o 3 yards da areia e depois a gente precisa voltar aqui.
Peter, we have to ratify this first, correct?
We have to ratify it.
Yeah, it has to be ratified. Yeah.
Não, mas sabe como a gente precisa
And we won't rescind it anyway.
fazer?
Yep, we'll continue it.
Oh, no, just ratify it. I guess we can continue it.
A gente volta
Yeah.
aqui.
I also wanted to say real quick that Mass Mapper
Pode fazer.
feels like it'd be more accurate, but the city GIS gives them about like 15 feet to the flood zone from the house, which would put them at like exactly 100 feet from the wetlands.
Okay.
But it's, yeah.
I'm more concerned about the flood zone part
Yeah.
than the wetland at that point.
15 feet from the flood zone. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
But again, I would assume the state is more accurate.
No, I guess is the problem.
I'm pretty sure you just said it, but who do we ask again? For after we take out the fill, who do we ask for the
It's a request for.
Yeah, the
a
request.
Request for determination of applicability. It's kind of, it's just so that we know what plan you're doing for the
Oh.
patio.
Yeah, but
And
who
you
do
would
we
be in
ask?
contact
You would-
with our office.
Okay.
You would contact them. They would help you make sure you have get all the right paperwork
Right.
and things you need.
Okay.
So they'd be who you'd go through for that.
Okay.
And then you'd come back to us.
All right.
Pergunta aí nessa areia aqui, a gente vai jogar até aqui, tá?
Okay. So you know this. So you know this picture right here. So he's asking if it would be okay if we take out this fill right here and put it back to here, to like near the house, it's sideways to the garage that we have, if that would be okay.
Probably out of the flood zone.
Yeah, it's out of
Oh,
the
that's in
flood
the flood
zone
zone?
and the buffer.
As long as it is out of the flood zone.
Yep, if it's adjacent to the garage, it's completely out of the flood zone.
So
And that should work.
that's the work.
Yeah.
Okay. A
Yeah.
gente pode fazer isso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next to the garage, it's behind the garage is where the flood zone starts,
Mm-hmm.
it's based on the maps. So next to the garage, it's not even in the flood zone.
Okay.
So that's not even our jurisdiction at that point.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a question.
Yeah, so first things first is to get rid of that fill,
Mm-hmm.
and then what you'll, sorry. I don't even have my mic on, but yeah, I guess you can hear me.
That's okay.
First things first, you get rid of the fill, and then you let us know that happened. Maybe send a picture that the fill's gone to the office, and then we'll rescind that enforcement order so that's not on the property anymore.
Do you know how long we have to remove the fill?
How long do you think you'll need to remove the fill?
Quanto tempo você acha que a gente precisa pra tirar? In the next like 2 to 3 weeks, we could try to get someone to remove it.
That's fine.
That works for us.
I have a question. I'm gonna translate to him to then, if it would be okay to ask you.
Okay.
Eu posso perguntar porque você acha que alguém falou para da coisa que a gente estava fazendo, né? Eu não posso perguntar se alguém falar de novo porque igual a gente tá tirando. Okay. Yeah, boa pergunta. Okay. So we believe that the only reason that we're here and that the whole thing happened is because someone may believe that since we were like putting dirt in and we had a bobcat and like filling stuff up, they thought we were maybe like constructing something. What would happen if someone reported the same thing but instead we were like taking the fill out? Do you know what would happen?
Well, they would report it to us, and we'd know that that's
Oh, okay.
the work you're doing for us.
So you guys would already know then.
Yeah.
Okay, eles vão já saber.
Yeah. So if you did that work and someone reported it, they would call the conservation office, or they call the Department of Public
They would already-
Planning and Development, and they would be like, "Oh, they're supposed to be doing that."
Oh, okay.
So-
Yeah, unfortunately, when you buy a property, this type of information isn't written in the deed.
Yeah.
So you buy a property, it might be near a wetland, and you don't really know much about the laws, and you want to build a shed, you want to do work in your backyard like any normal person would, and then all of a sudden you start running into these problems because you're close to the wetland, and that's the law. So we're just trying to make sure that you guys are doing it all correctly, and we're trying to just correct the problem.
Yeah. So in the future, if you want to do work, we don't allow anything within 25 feet of the wetland. But if you want to do something within 100 feet of that wetland in the back, you have to come to us, submit a plan, and then we can decide whether we're allowed or not. But just to cover yourselves, you have to come to us if anything's
course.
done within 100 feet of that wetland. And almost all your backyard is also in the flood zone, so that's also counts too. So you have two reasons why you'd have to come to us
So
to do something back there.
anything in the backyard basically.
Yeah, basically anything in your backyard.
Okay.
Okay, so this enforcement order has not been ratified yet. So could we,
I'll make a motion to ratify the enforcement order.
motion made by Commissioner Downs,
Second motion.
motion seconded by Commissioner Ciccarelli. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, now, moving forward, we need to,
Do we need to continue this to another meeting, or do we just wait till we hear from it? We'll just wait till you hear.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda once, just send us a photo when your fill is done.
I just wanted to say something real quick. I wanted to congratulate you, young man. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you. It's my first time. So. But my dad asked me a question. Just take out the fill, and in the future, send a picture, and in the future we will come to you guys about doing anything in the backyard. Correct?
so leaving here, the number one thing you guys want to do is remove that fill
Yeah.
from the flood zone. And once that's removed, then you can contact our office
Okay.
and give us what you would propose to do for work as
Right.
far as putting in pavers.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. That's it.
Yep, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a great night.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, moving on. Our next order of business is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. by Massachusetts Audubon Society at 1413 and 1415 Varnum Ave. We have, where did I write that? DEP number. Do you have the number on you by any chance? I thought I wrote it down. You know what? I have it on my computer. That is DEP number 2060330. Is anyone here to speak on the project?
Yep. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you state your name and address
Yeah.
if you live in the
Yeah.
city?
Yeah, my name is Montgomery Nesamba. I'm with Stemsky and McNary at 1000 Main Street, Acton, and I'm going to be representing the applicant today. If you don't mind, I can share my screen with you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So this is the NRAD, the plan. So I can talk about the existing conditions first. So this is 1413 Burnham Avenue. This is 1415 Burnham Avenue. So on this property here on this lot, we have an existing dwelling. We have greenhouses on the property here. And we have a pond. It's an unnamed pond. It has no name currently. And it has a wetland, bordering vegetated wetland around the pond, which there's also a 100-foot buffer zone shown here in the plan. So we go to 1415. We have an isolated wetland over here, down here. And we have a bordering vegetated wetland up here in the corner. Let me see, let me zoom in. And it also shows a 100-foot buffer zone as well. So we are seeking confirmation for this delineation for today's hearing.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward. You guys are looking to figure out where the actual wetland resources are on the property.
Yes.
I would like to open it up to the board. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Commissioner Varnum?
Yes. I think probably we have a pretty good delineation here of the pond in itself is very straightforward as far as the boundaries of it. I don't think it rises and falls much during the season as far as I know of it. You did say, well, this isn't your, never mind. You did say you were going to try to get the other shore. Someone told me that, a pond, but that's irrelevant as far as this goes. So I'm perfectly satisfied with the delineation of the pond. The wetlands, this isolated area at 1415, is that large enough to be a concern for the Wetlands Protection Act?
What do you mean the size?
The size of that wetland?
I would assume not, because it's so small.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And the other wetland is on the edge of the property.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I can't think of anybody that I'd rather have own a wetland than the Audubon Society, because I know they probably do programming around that wetland, which is actually an advantage for the kind of things that I've seen them do in the past, to have a lot of different environments on the same property for educational purposes. So I don't think any of this has been manipulated to be bigger or smaller or any other way. And I think that this delineation is probably something that we can feel pretty comfortable about. I'll let someone else,
Anyone else from the board have any comments or questions?
No, just that I agree with Commissioner Varnum. I think it looks good. I think it's pretty obvious where the wetlands are in this site, and it's shown on the map as well. So I have no problem at all with this.
And I concur.
All right, at this point, is there anyone from the public or online who would like to speak? If you'd like to speak, just state your name and address.
James Clark, 15 Frida Lane.
So I'm assuming you're in a butter?
In a butter, yes.
Okay.
So one of the questions I had that just came up was the comment about the pond not rising and falling much, and I don't believe that's accurate. The most recent heavy rain we had last month, the pond was overflowing somewhat, and I've seen pumps out there at times, so I don't know if that's an accurate description of that pond, and I'm not sure. Is the pond, is a wetland have to be naturally occurring? It's my understanding that pond was kind of created over the years by the owner to create a water resource for his crops. So I don't know if that's an actual wetland or if it's just something that was man-made.
So it's my understanding that this resource area delineation is just to see where the actual wetlands are, so that the Audubon can decide what they can and cannot do according to the wetlands.
Correct. They want to build some buildings, so they.
No, there's no. At least that's not.
Well, that's on their plan. Is to build.
Oh, yeah. I believe they have like a student.
They have two buildings that are planned that are on that we were at an open house several weeks ago.
And that's part of this delineation is going to.
Correct.
The fact that they're going to have this delineation done is going to show whether.
Well, I understand the
whether they
delineation. My
can
question
or
is,
not.
does this pond meet the definition of a wetland if it was man-made? Because if it's not a naturally occurring wetland and it's man-made, does it meet the definition of a water resource or whatever term we're using? Because then that would determine where they could put the buildings, if it is or not a wetland, and how far away from it you would have to be.
Commissioner Varnum?
This pond is shown on maps that are at least 100 years old. I do know that the owner did dredge it, I believe, at certain times in the past so that it could hold more water. But it is a naturally occurring pond. It has been perhaps deepened over time. But I've seen atlases and maps of that sort. In fact, my father owned this property with the jog in it some time ago, many years ago. And I assume that jog was so that animals could drink from that side as well as from the other. I'm not positive of that. So yes, the pond is natural, but it has been enlarged and it is there now. That's my feeling, that if it's there now, we have to assume that it's a resource.
I mean, especially in this city, we have a lot of man-made water resources, such as the canals. They were man-made, but now that they're in place, we consider them
Okay.
wetland resources.
So the question, so if it's delineated as a water resource, then what's the code for how close you can be to it for their buildings? I'm not familiar with this
So
process, so I'm asking.
Within 100, so being within 100 feet of that resource makes the plan come under our jurisdiction. In the city, we have a pretty strict no build within 25 feet of a resource.
So between 25 and 100, they would need your
Yeah,
your
and
permission. Okay.
on 50 as well. Under 50, we'd
that
be
be a
we'd
variance
pretty
then that
strict
they
as
would have
well.
to get?
Well, there'd be a notice of intent,
Okay.
or would you'd come to the board and you get a notice of intent.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Department of Planning and Development. They would help put that all together, and if from there we would approve with an order of conditions or
Okay.
something like that.
I think
That would've-
just to clarify, this step what we're talking about tonight is the first step
Yeah.
in part of a process that will move forward. So this is just establishing sort of the factual data
Okay.
on where the resource is, where the buffer zone is. And once that gets approved, whether we approve it or not tonight, then the Audubon Society can move on to the next step, which presumably would be a notice of intent with a more
build their
detailed plan on
plan.
what they're planning to build on this property.
I'm sorry, what?
So we're not,
How close to the Frida, my wife wants to know how close the wetland is to the Frida Lane? Is it on the other side? It was hard, we couldn't see the map, so.
There is one really small area. That is the area that we've been talking about that is very
Like whereabouts on,
small. So if you look at the map, are you looking at the map?
where?
Is there any way?
We kind of were looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, can you see it from Peter's computer? And I don't believe there's any intent to build over on that. Is there? There is?
One of the reasons why we're here is they
Yeah.
intend to put a building, rather large building, right along what looks like a road there on the other side. I believe it is a paper road.
Paper Road?
Yeah, and it literally is we're gonna look at the side of a building for the next 30 years. That's one of the reasons why we're here. We've been in contact with my wife's been emailing with the Audubon about this for over a year, and we were concerned when we first got notice about, we're gonna put this stuff here. I'm like, well, no, can we, and I'm not against the project, can we adjust where we're putting the building so I don't have to look at the side of a building for 30 years?
Yeah.
Or until I'm not here anymore.
Understandable.
It's just if they move a little further into the tree line, the tree
Up,
line would
or if they rotate the building like 90 degrees and go across instead of down, the way they're planning is the building's coming down towards Varnum Ave along that road, that dirt road. And our backyard abuts that dirt road, and
So
Yeah,
it'll literally will
I
be
will
looking
also.
at.
So this commission doesn't.
Well, that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, we don't really have. That's not under.
Unless it
so
was a
we,
wet-
we are only involved with the things that are under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right, unless the building fell in that
If
little
it fell
slice of
into
wetland.
there, but then we really can't tell them that they can't. If they do everything right and they do it, we can't tell them.
But they would
that
have to
we,
get-
we can't be like, you can't, you have to move it because of this, and
Right, but they would have to get your consent.
Yes, yeah, if it was within,
If
if
they're
it
within
was
that
under our
25 to
jurisdiction.
100 foot.
But not necessarily would we be able to police where,
Okay.
if it's, everything's good with us, we can't really police where they might put that building or not, as long as we
Okay.
within,
I understand.
under our
Who would I-
jurisdiction.
Who would I then have to talk to about that?
You'd have to, Department of Planning and Development
Okay.
might be able to help you, but I'm not sure.
Also very concerned, this is the first notice we've ever gotten about, they said they had public hearings and about others, this is the first notice.
And
we've
that's part of and we call it an ANRAD, abbreviated Notice of Resource Area Delineation. So they're supposed to notify the public that it's going on in case someone has questions, just like you. Come here.
I would think as a butters that we would have some,
Yeah.
at least a little input into it.
Yeah.
And-
And so for this for this step, this is just a notice that they're delineating the wetlands to actually see where the wetlands are.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing that they are going through all the proper hoops
Okay.
to make sure that they're doing the correct thing.
Okay. All right, I guess we're gonna wait and see then.
Yeah, and they will probably be coming back with more plans. They're probably gonna,
Oh, yeah,
you,
the
you,
other
you will
boards,
probably
too.
be getting notified again, within the coming years.
Yeah.
So,
And I assume they'd have to go up with the planning board and maybe some of the other boards in the Department of Planning Development as well at
Because
some
I have some
point.
questions about that paper road as well.
Yeah,
For you guys, right?
yeah, that's,
Okay. It's out of the way, okay.
so you can see the wetland ends like right there,
so,
and your lot is right there.
What yellow boxes are
Where,
right?
where it was.
This is your property. And the wetland buffer zone ends like right there.
Okay, so there's a pretty good sized gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so like I know like when it's time to do the driveway or anything, it'll have to go to the planning board. They would get notified. Notice of intent, I believe they'd still get notified as an abutter. So
yeah, so
you guys
they'll
should
get
be-
notified again
Yep.
Yeah. So if
after
they
this
come to
step.
do anything, other work, you'll get notified if plans come forward. Yeah, as a butters, they have to notify.
Okay, so, is there anyone else from the public, who would like to make any comments or ask any questions?
Hi, this is Renata Pomponi with Mass Audubon. I'm the senior director involved with this project. I just wanted to just clarify that the phase that we're talking about now is, as you said, we're preparing a notice of intent, which only covers the trail work and outdoor pavilion that is near the pond area.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so, we're gonna have to close the public meeting, so can I get
I have a question.
Commissioner Varnum?
Yeah, because this is going to be such a public site, open to the public, I'm wondering if there are any plans to put markers. We've requested markers in the past that that would delineate, particularly on the wetland, the distance away from it that would be delicate, something we'd want to protect, such as, well, I don't know what the marker would say, but because it's easy to, especially in dry season, to just kind of ignore some wetlands. I know that's not a particularly wet wetland up there, if I recall.
Especially if
So-
there's to be work
Just-
done.
Yeah, just like mark the 100 feet, Louisa, is what you're thinking?
Yeah, well, I don't know if we need to mark the 100-foot, but we've marked the 50-foot buffer in the past on certain
Yeah,
properties.
That's what it is.
I think the pond is fairly easy to, to know when you're there and when you aren't, but particularly the wetland in the back, there might be some way to put, not huge signs, but some kind of marker to alert people that they are approaching a wetland. And that, we shouldn't be disturbing the wetland area.
So Commissioner Varnum, is that in the form of a motion? Are we trying
Well,
to?
I'm just wondering, the people here that have worked on projects like this in the past, I'm wondering if that's something that they've run into and perhaps might have an idea of whether that would work or whether that's necessary. Maybe with such a large property, it's not necessary, but I know in larger residential parcels, we found it quite useful to let people know where the wetland boundaries are.
I don't
It
think
does
that's a
get-
bad idea.
Does anyone from Mass Audubon have any comments on marking the?
Yeah, sure. We do put up signage at certain times a year if there's an environmental concern that we want people to kind of stay clear of. For example, breeding bird season, any sightings of particular species that we're trying to protect, just letting people know that it's a sensitive area. Those are typically, signs that are put up, at the time that there's a need to address it. So only like, for example, only in, the particular breeding time of that bird. In general, we try to keep our public paths clear of wetland resource areas just because we want to be able to protect them. But we certainly do plan to have interpretive signage to let people know what the different habitats are on this property and what their role is in trying to protect those.
I think
Okay,
this was
thank-
just while there was work going on. I don't think this was a
Yeah.
permanent request to mark the wetlands. I think it was just during the different phases as you're doing work to make sure that the wetland buffers are marked.
Yeah, we absolutely can do that.
Okay, I'll repeat that I'm glad it's Audubon that has this property because I know you'll be good stewards of it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we need to close the public hearing, right? Can I get a motion? First, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay. Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Downs, seconded by Commissioner Laput. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Now I'm looking for a motion.
This is an order of conditions? Is that what we're giving it? This is not one that comes up very often.
Yeah.
I believe we need an order of conditions.
Yep.
Or is it an order of resource area delineation?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to put out an order of resource area delineation with the comment that we discussed of adding some signage marking the borders of the, I guess, the buffer zone.
And Commissioner Louisa was, Commissioner Varnum, was that, did you say 50 feet?
Yeah, we usually do 50 feet. 25 is, 50 feet is usually our no-build zone, but it's also the point at which you really should be paying attention to where you're headed as far as the wetland is concerned.
Did you get all that, Peter? Okay, motion made by Commissioner Laput. Anyone?
I'll second that.
We got a seconded by Commissioner Burns. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. All right, moving on to other business. Other business, we have our 5/8 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion or any comments or
Motion to approve
questions?
them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to
second.
approve by Councilor Commissioner Downs.
All right, second. Aye. Yes, I thought we said.
Seconded by Commissioner Burns. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, that concludes our meeting. Do we have any other business anyone wants to talk about? All right, maybe we could get a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn
I'll second.
and seconded. Have a good night.